Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Hey, Dave, it's Ryan.
Hey, man.
How you doing?
Good to see you, sir.
Good to see you. How was it in California?
Lonely. The weather's been nice, but you can't do anything, so it's like a waste.
Yeah. Well, it's kind of cold and rainy here.
Yeah, I just can't go anywhere, so I'm like, let's get them out of the way. That's my attitude. I wish it would rain.
Yeah. All right, let's rock and roll. Let's do this. We've got a bunch of people jumping on across the region, so I'm thrilled to have everybody here. We're going to get started and want to welcome everybody to this Spark Saratoga Ureeka event. This has been a long time coming, this partnership and what we've tried to accomplish at Spark Saratoga. And on the screen here, I have for you just our partners here locally in the region who've helped us from the beginning. We would not have been able to launch Spark Saratoga 3 years ago, let alone find such a dynamic partner in Ureeka for our 3rd anniversary and our 2.0 launch that we just announced last week. So we're just thrilled to have everybody here. I want to encourage you all just to kind of dial in on this and listen. This is going to help your business. This is going to help your client's business. And we're here to make sure that our region can maximize the access in this community. So on behalf of Saratoga Economic Development Corporation, SCDC, my name's Ryan Van Amberg. I'm the entrepreneur in residence for Spark Saratoga. And on the screen is our collaborative of corporate partners from around the region, like I said, who would made this all possible for us, and we wouldn't be here without them. So just a quick history on why we're here and how we got here. I spent like a year or more looking at different partners to help accelerate our growth. Spark Saratoga is an incubator and accelerator without walls. We're based out of Saratoga, but we work around the region with startups, entrepreneurs, existing small business owners. And our goal was always to provide them access and resources to help them grow their business. And over that time period, we realized we really needed a partner, a technology platform partner, and a resource to help us scale, make it efficient for not only the startups and the small business owners, but also the mentors and coaches. And after about a year of searching, we found that in Ureeka, because not only do they have a dynamic platform and online community that you'll see in just a moment, but the culture aligned. And, you know, especially during this whole crisis and what we're all going through with this pandemic, everything's moving and has moved virtually. And we're looking forward to, as we roll out of this, looking forward to the new normal. And for us, the new normal is access, collaboration, and community. And that's what we found in our partner, Ureeka. So we're excited about this new chapter. We're thrilled to have Dave, one of the co-founders, on the call with us, who's going to take us through. If you want to be part of this community, you start at sparksaratoga.com. You'll see the code there, SCDC Spark. We have our own private community within there that you'll see. And it's a great opportunity to gain access and just be around like-minded individuals. This is something that we've tried to create in our own ecosystem here. And this is why this is dynamic, is we've realized we needed support and a partnership to help grow our companies and have access to the best minds. And also, we have great talent in the region. It's been phenomenal to see just how many people have come out and supported this and want to be part of this as mentors and coaches and help the next generation of companies succeed. So we're thrilled about this. And I'm going to just give you a quick background on Dave. And I love the fact that his bio is like 2 to 3 sentences long. He didn't give me like a 14-page bio to read, which is awesome. And so, you know, when you find someone with a 2 or 3 page bio, they're more worried, or they're looking forward to the future and not resting on what they did in the past. And that just speaks to their culture, and that speaks to why it aligns so well with what we're trying to do here. But Dave Jakubowski is a Silicon Valley expert with stints at Facebook, Microsoft, and 3 of his own companies. His focus over the past several years has been on small business, customer acquisition, and bridging the gap. That's key for us, bridging the gap of digital expertise, helping to democratize the economic opportunity of the internet. So we are thrilled to have you here, Dave. I'm going to be quiet and stop sharing my screen so you can get right into Ureeka.
Thanks, Ryan. Very, very nice to meet all of you. I just want to build a little bit on our partnership with Spark Saratoga. You were the first organization that we really started to build out a professional partnership with. Ureeka was launched on November 1st of 2019. So we're still in our infancy, and we've been doing things hand in hand. You all, Ryan, as you're probably aware, is not shy. He gives us plenty of feedback, and we do our best to listen. We're all aligned in trying to create a community where we can bridge at the access gap. The history of this for me is I'm actually from upstate New York. I'm from a town called Batavia. Does anybody out there know where Batavia is? Exit 48 on the 90. There we go.
Yes.
Got a few folks out there. So I fly my bills loud and proud. We had a great draft, by the way. Sorry, I won't get into politics or religion, which I know football is someplace in between. I'm from upstate New York, and I went to Binghamton. I went to SUNY Binghamton, is my alma mater. I started working in New York City during the dot-com boom. I was part of the first class of people that D.E. Shaw hired that wasn't Ivy League. And we were kind of looked down upon. We were like, oh, the state school kids. And, you know, being from Batavia, I remember growing up playing hockey in Buffalo and Rochester, and we were the farm boys. And so I think at every stage of my career, I had this chip on my shoulder, and I consider it a gift today that my hometown gave me. But it was you always had to work a little bit harder than somebody else to get access, to get the job interview, to get the thing. And then when I moved west to Silicon Valley, because I got into the internet and I started to work on products, I'm a product geek by background. When I moved west, there was like this whole insular culture of Stanford and Cal, and you know, they had programs where they were teaching people how to be program managers and product managers, and there was this insular group of venture capitalists and all that other good stuff. And it took about a decade, but I broke through. I was very, very lucky, and had some great stints at Microsoft and Facebook and a couple of my own companies, and got in and started to get invited to sit on boards and do angel investing and all that kind of stuff. And when I got inside, it really felt hollow to me. And I was, doing some investing and working with companies. And these were all people who didn't need any help. They were I felt like I had worked really hard to get to this group of people who didn't actually need any help. And a mentor of mine asked me to come back to Buffalo and help with some economic development work 3-4 years ago on an initiative that turns out to be the 43 North pitch competition today that they run. And we sat down with the mayor's office and a bunch of other things, and I started to meet with the businesses in the from my hometown, my area. I'm from Batavia for all the people who are technically correct out there, and I started to meet with the people, and these people didn't have access to the same things that I had in Silicon Valley. They didn't understand. They didn't take for granted that they could call a product manager at Google or get a hold of the white paper for how the algorithm works. And those are things I was started to take for granted after being, a little West Coastified. And I was really brought back to my roots, and working with those folks was really far more rewarding than anything I was doing in Silicon Valley. And a few people asked me, like, why don't you move back? And I thought about it. But then I realized that that wasn't where I was most valuable to those communities. And what I started to do is just bridge the access that I had to people in communities like Saratoga, Albany. My mother's from Troy. You know, I have these roots back that I just started to bridge these gaps for. And I realized that if we could just connect the access as the world moves more and more to your phone, every business is impacted in a much more profound way. It needs to have the access to the best practices, needs to understand how to scale, needs to understand how to deal with international shipping, needs to understand that if your mobile website load time is way more important than your website. And that all the things that we were taught about SEO, that, you know, to rank high in Google, now it's far more important that you do mobile optimization. That's the new version of SEO. And like, once you understand all that and you give people the best practices, I find that the folks that we work with, and, you know, I love my upstate and Western New York folks, they'll work harder, they'll work smarter. The business ideas aren't any better or any worse, any different. I find that the folks work harder. I don't have any data behind that. That's maybe rose-colored glasses, but that's what I found. And I struggled for about 3 years to figure out what to do about this. And I was a volunteer with a number of organizations doing mentorship. And I was frankly disappointed in a lot of the mentorship programs out there. And that I didn't feel like they brought a realness to the help that people needed. And I found some kindred spirits and a woman named Melissa Bradley, who has spent 20 years building out mentorship programs for underrepresented communities across the country. And a gentleman named Rob Gatto, who is also a Silicon Valley style CEO, but comes from rural Illinois. And we were kind of working with the same kind of companies, and we decided to create Ureeka. And I reached out to my good friends Ryan and Bill the minute we had a product, and here we sit. So what I'm going to show you today is the beginning. It is going to be shaped by people like you who care enough to spend the time on a webinar like this, and who care enough to write us and tell us what they want to see and what would make the products better and how they could better incubate the community and what kind of access they want that they can't get. And our plan is to build out a staff of people to go help you get the access that you can't get and leave the community building and the localization to you all, because you're in the community. And with that, I'm going to share my screen and jump into the products. Any questions?
Yeah, I was going to mention, Dave, too. I'll be monitoring the chat. So folks, if you have questions for Dave, we'll try to get to as many as we can. So feel free to jump in on the chat on your screen and ask away.
All right. So the very first thing when you log in that you're going to see is what we call the feed. This area right here that moves up and down is the feed. On the left here, you have groups. There are all different kinds of groups, places where we announce free stuff, all the way down to your own private group. And when you join using that code, you will automatically get added to this group. You've set that up, correct, Ryan? We're all good on the auto join?
Yes.
Great. So everybody who uses that code, you'll get automatically joined. You'll see this group on the left. You can see it's got a little lock on it. That means it's private. Only folks in that group will see that. And so if somebody else were to log in and they weren't a member, they wouldn't see this group, Spark Saratoga. They wouldn't have access to it. They wouldn't see any of the content that's in it. That's all your stuff unique to you all. There are public groups that have the little globe up here. So here's one with Grow Your Business with Amazon that is hosted and run by a woman named Tara Darnley, who's an ex-Amazon product manager. And we go out and we actively recruit folks like this to create these communities so that people have a place to go to access somebody who worked at Amazon, who worked on the products, who's a real deal, legit expert. She didn't think it, teach it, try it. She built it. And we try to go out and get these folks so that you have direct access, so that you can ask her any question you want about Amazon. And we do this across all different kinds of groups. And you can find them all in here. Just sift through them alphabetically. We've heard loud and clear that you want better search. We got that coming out shortly. There's one about Facebook and Instagram. There's a whole one here about getting access to free mentor sessions, people with Google for startups, and that's hosted by an actual employee at Google. And so you can go through these and find all kinds of different things that you want. And anyone with the orange join is a public group that you're welcome to join. We have the president of the International Independent Book Publishers Association hosting this group in here. So anything you want to know about book publishing, she's there, and on and on. And this has begun to take on a little life of its own. You can leave the groups that you're in. So I could leave this group here, and I'm no longer in it. I can join back because it's a public group. And then there are private groups. So here's one for the city of Birmingham, the Office of Business Diversity and Opportunity. I can't get into that group. They have to invite me to come into that group. Even though I'm the co-founder, nothing I can do about it. I got to go ask them, and I got to get in it. And that's the way it should roll, so that everybody can build their community the way that they want to build it. You'll see over here on the left, I'll click in and out of here. This is navigation. If you're working on it on mobile, it's the little hamburger. A hamburger is a super geeky term for the little 3 lines that you click for a menu. The geeks call that a hamburger. And that rolls up into a hamburger on mobile. There's a link here that'll pop you out onto a website about how to use Ureeka, and all the things I'm going to show you here are in this 4-minute video. And then there's some tips and tricks, and everything that I'm talking to you about here is written down and gives you examples. This is one of the things that we've learned a lot about over, starting 3.5 years ago, and with Melissa Bradley for the last 20 years, is that people learn better when they have people-to-people interaction. That is the philosophy behind everything that we will do, is to facilitate people-to-people interaction. And now when you're given a piece of content, or you're shown a video, or you're given access to a piece of curriculum, you've kind of heard it from a human being already, and it has, statistically, you will retain it better, and it will have better ability to impact your business. And that's a philosophy that you're going to see as we move throughout this, and I'm going to show you some new stuff today. So, so again, main flow is the feeds and the chats. The best practice is to write is to ask any question you want here. If I could spell. Ask for help. Tell us about the issue, your business, whatever it is. It's always helpful to add some hashtags. I need help growing customers. I need help raising money. Access to capital. I want to know all about the Salesforce grant, whatever it is. And you do this just like you would do on any other program. And what's going to happen here is it's going to load into the system, and the system is going to do 2 things with this. Why is it not doing that? Of course, it's not doing that when I'm showing it.
Dave, while you're doing that, can you just touch on the different types of industries? I know you mentioned the book publishing experts that you have in the group, the different types of industries that are utilizing and seeing real results in the Ureeka community.
Yeah. We've grown so much. In fact, we just crossed a milestone. We crossed 5,500 daily active businesses on the platform yesterday. So that's a pretty big milestone. We were shooting at 5,000 a month by June, and we crossed 5,500 a day yesterday. So there's a lot of businesses on here across a lot of different spectrums. The common theme across most of them is that they need to do something in digital for their business. They need a better mobile website. They need to drive customers through a digital channel. And that might mean that we have tons of Main Street retailers who are just looking at their business saying 50% of the sales of my product. In fact, we have a hat guy that I will use his quote. He makes like super fancy cowboy hats. He's from St. Louis. And he said, half of all the cowboy hats are now sold by Amazon. Used to be I could put a pin on a map and show you my 5 competitors. Half of those now go to Amazon, and I compete with everybody with a website, even though my primary value proposition is my store. So I got to get people to my website to get them into my store. And I would love to get my website sales up to 20%. That would help me a lot. So that's a Main Street retail example. One of my favorite businesses is a business called Spoke and Dagger. They're kind of a motorcycle lifestyle business, and they have really cool clothing. They're in upstate New York. You all have some amazing businesses. Darn Good Yarn is one I'll always give a shout out to. Nicole's amazing and has a great business. And so all these different businesses have something in common where they'd like to get either access to capital, or there's something in digital that would help their business grow if they could figure it out. That tends to be the common theme, although it doesn't necessarily have to be. We didn't set out and say we're only going to help those people. It's just that's where the help has congregated. Does that make sense, Ryan? Okay.
Yes.
So I've done this post. It's not a very elegant post, but it's a post. And a couple of things are going to happen. The first thing is it's going to go out into the back of the system, and it's going to alert these things that we call helpers. And they're primarily robots. And what they do is they're looking and they're saying, okay, who can help this? And we have a goal to get a human response to any question that somebody poses within 2 hours. That's an internal goal that we've set. And we're pretty good at it. We're 95% within that 2 hour band, and we'd like to get that down. We'd love to get that down to minutes, but we're at 2 hours right now. And it goes and it connects, and we have these mentors and coaches and plenty of peers who help out on lots of different topics, and it'll semantically look at them and alert them and begin to say, hey, there's something here you could help with. And you'll watch and you'll see that the robots will often reply to things if it doesn't see. Sorry, my phone is like buzzing me in my ear, and I have to turn it off. And so it's going out and it's doing that semantic analysis. And so you can see here's one where the helper is saying, tell us a little bit about the business so that we might match you with the right person. The post didn't give it anything to match off of. And so it didn't understand it properly, and it didn't have enough from Just Get Financing. It felt to do a good job. So it asks us a question. And so you can go into all different, and that one you can see is inside of this post that I made, because it's going to show me mine, is inside of the Spark Saratoga group that I made earlier today. Only you folks would see that. If you're not in Spark Saratoga, like Henry, I don't know if Henry's in Spark Saratoga, but he doesn't see that if he's not in Spark Saratoga. And so you can look. So here's another one, and where it looks like he's having some COVID problems, and it's given him some recommendations about places that it can go to get some help. The Salesforce grant program, the Facebook grant program, gave him the FAQ page specifically to see if he's eligible. And then we have a whole calendar of things that around coronavirus, all broken down by state, because we have a team of people who are going and curating various programs behind there on some different options for you to go find different help. And so it offered that help. Obviously there's a lot of folks who are posting about COVID. Here's one from Steve Carter. The assistance is timely, knowledgeable. And this is a mentor, Michelle Butts. She's been helping them. And so what typically happens is Steve had posted something, Michelle is a mentor who responded, and then most of the things move over here into the area that I'm going to call chat. You can click on it over here in the nav, and it'll make it big and blow it out on your screen so that it's easier to navigate. But most people just kind of stick with it here in the feeds in the chat, and they'll. Sorry, that's somebody that is on our team whose dog died. And so as you go through here, you can see here's somebody that I am working with that I picked up, and I'm helping her get access to some investors, and we introduced her to some. She's tweaking the deck. We have a share drive. Every single person who joins Ureeka gets a free instance of G Suite. It's about a $12 a month value that through a partnership we have with Google, so that everybody has a place to go share things. I can go click, give her feedback on her deck, and get her the help that she needs going back and forth to raise money. And the vast majority, about 75% of all the activity on the platform happens in these one-to-one people connections over here in chats. They start here in the feed. This is a great place to go ask, as the aperture of the lens is really wide. And then we quickly try to move down into one-to-one connection and get people connected with the folks who can help them. Here's somebody that reached out to me unsolicited. And so she replied. And so I just asked her how I can help, and I'm waiting to hear back from her. Sure, Ryan.
Quick question. I see in the feed, there's a couple of businesses that have mentioned, hey, I'm here for the one-to-one mentoring help. I'm here for that one-to-one. Can you explain what that is and the mentorship providing here and what that means? Yeah.
During coronavirus, we shifted our business and said, hey, what we started to do was to say, hey, what we want to do is get people matched with a mentor or a coach who will stay with their business for a long period of time. And we shifted because what people needed really, really quickly was a plan for what they were going to do during the pandemic with their business. And so we shifted and we said, anybody who comes in who requests it, we will get you a one-to-one session with a mentor to help you plan for your business during the pandemic. And so that's free of charge, doesn't cost anybody anything. We have a mix of volunteer mentors and paid coaches. That's the difference. If somebody's called a mentor, they're a volunteer. If somebody is paid, they're a coach. And we're eating all the costs associated with that during the pandemic because we wanted to get people the help that they needed and show them the value of human-human connection. And when this thing all subsides, businesses go back, then we'll go back and we'll deal with a business model that we've punted out for the entire year of 2020. And so we won't even address that until 2021. And it's basically an annual subscription fee. It costs $200 to be a member of this whole thing and get access to all the tools we're going to talk about. But we've said no fees for that. And obviously we do partnerships with folks like Spark and provide discounts and so forth. So so anybody who comes in here and makes a post on that feed, you will get one of the bots connect you to an actual mentor, and you will get a live one-on-one session. Most of those move over into chat really quickly. You'll get an introduction in chat so that everything you tell that coach is private. All the coaches are vetted. We go through a screening process. We unfortunately say a no to a lot of mentors and coaches. We have a lot of folks who come in with outdated experience or not relevant for our group, or people trying to be like life coaches. That's a big thing these days. Great, maybe it has a huge amount of value for some people, but we're about business help. And so everybody and the primary persona of the mentors are people with jobs at some of the big tech companies, law firms, manufacturing companies who are in the business of the thing that you're looking for help with, and they're volunteering time. If you're interested or you know somebody who might want to be a mentor, they can easily sign up at Join Now as a coach or a mentor, and they can learn all about the differences. And they have to apply, and we vet them all. And so that anybody who comes in as a coach or a mentor, they have the experience that they say they does, because we've checked it out. And so you move over into this chat, you're doing this one-on-one session, and maybe you wanna, we could shock the hell out of Monica and call her on our webinar. And it's gonna dial, I don't know if you can hear that, it's loud in my ear, and it's ringing, and it's calling her. I don't know Monica's phone number. I don't know anything about her contact information. The system won't give it to me. She would have to provide that to me, but it has all her information, and I can call her directly through voice over IP, and it'll ring on the other end for her. And we're adding a whole bunch of features to that, including video calling, and all these are just the tools that come with it. I can chat with her directly in here, like you saw that I did, or I can add people to it. I might know somebody who's a good, who's a good helper for her, and I might want to add, let's find Ryan here. Alphabetical by first name. Of course, I picked RY. And so I could add Ryan to the chat and have her connected directly. We could do a three-way call. Any of those things are all here, all set up for you in chat. I also have what I call the office hours, where I have a group of about 300 folks who over time have just requested stuff, and I got them all in one group here. And I do office hours every Tuesday in this chat group, and people ask questions, and we go live. And we have a lot of voyeurs, a lot of people who just listen on what questions people ask, and that's totally fine. And if you want to join that, all you have to do is ping me on chat, and I can add you to that really, really easily. Or if you're in that chat, like Ryan is in that chat, he could add anybody that he wants to, because this is what's called a public chat. All chats are private by default. You have to add them as a participant of the chat, or they can't get access to it. I see some questions mounting there, Ryan. Do you want me to pause for a second here?
No, keep going. I'm keeping track.
Okay. So the vast majority of use cases quickly move, and that's where the human-to-human interaction is. From there, you can, a lot of times people are directed over into the curriculum area. We have over 200 different how-tos to do lots of different things. And we generally break them out into 4 categories. All things about how you can grow customer acquisition, all things about financing, all things about execution, and all things about building culture. The minute you have 2 people, or the minute you hire your first person and there's 2 or more of you, you begin to build a culture. And hiring, firing, hard conversations, these are all skills that people need, and they're tried and true best practices, and we write them down for you to all have. So if and the 4th one is improve execution. So if we take this improve execution one, we have a lot of folks who say, geez, I get people who come to my site or who I want to sell to, and they're in Canada or India. and I don't know how to do that. Well, we know how to set it up for you so that in about an hour's worth of time, never leaving your living room, you can do a plug-in and have another company handle duties and taxes and shipping all the way through to the last mile of rural India, from and to 100 different companies or countries all across the country. So you don't actually have to know anything about taxes and duties to do international shipping. You just have to come in here. We've done the research. Click on it. There's a how-to. All how-tos can be consumed in 10 minutes or less. The whole design of this is you don't need a book. You don't need another link to something that's going to put you in a circle. You don't need to spend 3 hours researching it. We've had actual product people from the industry create the shortest possible answer to the question that you might have. So in 10 minutes or less, we have over 200 of these out there. We've heard a lot of feedback about how you want to consume this. I'm going to show you some fun stuff here in a minute. But for right now, this is where it all is. You can make a copy of this, take it home, download it, move it into a folder, edit it. This is all meant to be working for you, not spitting information at you the way that most places do. Breaks
Dave,
down the
this,
challenges. Yeah.
Dave, on this, one question that came in specifically is to get access to this kind of content, do you have to have permission to access it to the Google Drive?
Everybody by default it gets access to it with the login email that you registered to Ureeka for. All of it's here, all of it's free.
Excellent.
Okay. And just for a little Google tutorial, if you go into Google Drive, it'll show up in this little thing called Shared With Me, and you have to add the folder. If you click Move To and you move it to your drive, then it'll show up in here as the how-tos, and they'll all populate in here, and you can have access to all of them and sift through it. Take them with you. There's lots of different things in here. One of my favorite ones is our exercises around how to set up and begin to think about the value proposition of your company. And it starts with this exercise I call the 3 circles that you can come in here. In fact, I worked with Catherine Hover at Palette Cafe on her 3 circles, and we really were able to shrink down her pitch, and I'm really proud of the work that she's doing and how we've been able to make it easy to digest for all the people that she talks to. And we did that using this little exercise, and there's a little guide that walks you through it and clicks to all the different things that you can do it, all the way to a pitch deck outline. Ooh, that's a dead link. Okay, I got to fix the dead link. But getting into all the different methodologies of how you might run a management meeting, or how you would create a mission for your company. And so you could click on this, download it for you, and literally edit it for your purposes. And all of this content was built and developed by some world experts. And it's all built around these 4 pillars: growing customers, getting financing, improving execution, and building culture. So if I go back into this international example, we've broken it all down into the different things that you need to evaluate for this. And then we've given you the top 3 people in the country who do this. So you don't have to go searching for it. We've done the evaluation. There's about 20 companies who offer it. There's only 3 that we would recommend. So it's this kind of insight that we can bring. Or you could just go all the way back into the community and come back in here and say, I need help to ship internationally. hashtag international shipping, whatever I think it is. Okay, so I make that post, and it's going to go out and it's going to go find those experts, and they'll reply to me. Somebody replied to me already, which is pretty. Let me do the COVID-19 crisis. My barbershop has been closed, and all. So here's Sharon. So I can go reach out to Sharon and try to give her, get her plugged in, and I'll do that after this, and get her plugged into the Facebook and Salesforce grant programs. The Salesforce one for the East Coast closes on Friday, so if you haven't applied for that, please do. It's $10,000. It's real deal. Yeah.
Dave, it's Bill. How you doing? Quick question that was really good from Brooke that I wanted to make sure was addressed. And her comment was, once you're assigned a mentor, is there continuity beyond that initial session, or how are they considered your mentor for a given period of time, or how's that handled?
Yeah, mentors, the idea of a mentor is they're going to spot solve a problem. They're going to help you make a plan. They're going to help you answer a question one time. A coach is dedicated, and you can get access to a coach, but dedicated coaching is one of the paid services that we offer. And so you can pay a coach, we subsidize it, and that costs about $125 an hour to the end user to get a coach. So for $3,000 for the year, you can get a dedicated coach who will stay with you for the year, have 2 meetings, one-on-one only about your business, and have the same coach go all the way through. Again, it was during the pandemic. We're eating all of those costs right now. So if you get connected to a coach, try it out and see if it's somebody who will stay with you for 1 or 2. We're paying them all during the pandemic. And then once the pandemic eases up, they'll say, hey, if you want to stick with me, here's the model. We're just trying to give people some relief right now and not ask them to pay at a time when nobody has any money. But that's the way that the model works. Mentors are there to spot solve. Coaches are there to stay with you for a dedicated or prolonged amount of time. Good. Okay. So I'll reply to Sharon in a bit here. And what I will get here in a little bit is somebody who's got the international shipping experience will reply to me, or the bot might put in the how-to and a link to that for me to go see it. And that'll all begin to populate in. And so I just got to pay attention and check that out. You'll see over here we have the COVID resource stuff. I talked about that, the using Ureeka stuff. And then we have pitch competitions. Ordinarily, in non-pandemic times, once a month, we run a program for pitch competitions where we connect companies to investors. We bring in investors from all over the country based on all kinds of different topics. We did consumer products goods company. We had the largest food investor in the country in Swan and Legend come and meet with companies. They took 4 companies to diligence for investment out of that. We've brought in angel groups who do $25,000 and $50,000 investments, and we've done them as big as $4 and $6 million investments. Right now, we were doing that monthly. We did one in March. There isn't one in April. We're pushing all the COVID-19 grant programs in April, and we're talking about picking it back up in May or June. More likely June, because investors aren't writing a lot of checks right now, and so a lot of the capital on that side is frozen. But every month when we get out of this crazy time, you can get access to real investors through the various pitch competitions that we do. And you'll see it's not just our pitch competitions that we put access to all kinds of different pitch competitions. Here's a few of ours. We did one in partnership with M&T Bank in Buffalo. They're a great partner, and I know you guys do a lot of work with them. We're doing one. We've done things with Procter & Gamble. Here's Sogal. We had really nothing to do with that. We just know them really well. And so they asked us to put it up in our community, and we did that. Radical Challenge is a group of investors that we know who ran a program, and it was for ag tech, which is a good fit for our community. So we put opportunities here that we know are legit, we curate them, and we help educate you. And then if you want help, you could say, I'm doing a pitch competition. Can somebody practice my pitch with me? And boom, you'll get instant help. And folks will help you with application or pitch competitions simply by posting back into the community. All of it anchors around the community. If you're not sure, just post it in here. Somebody will respond to you. And if you ever really get stuck and you want more immediate help, you can just go to the chats and go to you, and there's all kinds of Ureeka resources in here that you can get one-on-one instant chat access with.
Dave, quick question on just the geography boundaries. Is this targeted to a particular region, or is it nationwide? And how do people search for people based on location?
Just typing this in here. And you'll see it'll respond. So the whole community is US. So it's all US and Puerto Rico. There's actually a private group only in Spanish that I don't have access to. I can't see it, which I don't speak Spanish, so I wouldn't be all that useful. But there's a whole community of folks who are Spanish business owners building. And we have a bunch of people from Puerto Rico on that. So if you're a native Spanish speaker and want to get in that, post, how do I get access to that? And you'll get invited in. But the whole community is nationwide. Here's the whole theory. The whole theory is that you all are going to create a local community. I shouldn't create a local community. I shouldn't try to create one for Saratoga, Albany region. You should create that, which you've done. And so you create that group here, and it has all the same functions that I just talked about. But you're going to want access to somebody at Google, at Facebook. You're going to want access to that woman, Tara, who is the product manager from Amazon. And you're going to need to ask these people things, and you want to bring that knowledge back to help grow businesses so that they don't have to leave your community. I come from a community, and many of you live in communities where we're watching young people flood into New York City and San Francisco and all these other places. And geography does not have to be a barrier. And our entire mission is to make geography irrelevant when it comes to economic opportunity, because everybody has access to the same kind of information and the same kind of opportunity, simply because they have access. And that's where we're focused, bridging access so that local communities, and you might decide, I'd rather do business with somebody in St. Louis because it's a community more like mine than I do New York City or San Francisco. I'd rather work with the agency or the coach in Cleveland because they can relate more to what's going on. And you can get access to do business. If you're a company, you can get access to do business with those same people and expand your addressable market for Saratoga simply by sitting in your living room. And you don't have to move. You don't have to leave your community, and you don't have to ship your money off to New York and San Francisco. That's the job that we're focused on. And we think that you'll be better at creating your own community. All right. So I thought what I would do next is, ordinarily I just open it up and we go free for all for a while, but you guys are such a close partner. Does anybody want to see what we're building next? Want to see where the product is going?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. So mid-May, we're going to ship an app, iOS first. So there'll be an iOS app available. All the same things you see here, iOS enabled. Better notifications. We've heard a lot of feedback about that. And then video will be a fast follow on that, so that the video calling webinars will be able to be generated right from the platform. You could just go into Spark Saratoga, click the button, and be on video with your entire community, should you so choose. Those kinds of things That's the May roadmap. And right beyond that is where we really begin to get interesting. And so I thought what I would do is show you what the product team brought to us for sign off very recently that we've already begun engineering work on. So this is the experience that you see today. This should not look any different. This is the post. Most people start there. There's three most common things is how do I, who can, and where can I? And then most move over into that chat like I spent way too much time talking about. And what we've heard overwhelmingly is that it's too hard to find people and to find the things that are here. There's really cool things here when you find them, but we need to do a better job of making it easier. And that it's this people-to-people magic that we want to bring through. So we're going to do a better job of leveraging the chat, first and foremost, to tell people where to find things. And a little color code here. Every arrow about people is orange. Every arrow about content or answers for the how do I stuff is in blue. And then everywhere that there are other groups of people talking about the same things is in gray with those arrows. And so what we're going to start to do is do a better job at surfacing all these things. And so you can see this is the feed, just like you saw, except when you type something in and you ask for something, it's going to automatically pop up and tell you who are the best people to help you with that. It's going to make recommendations for mentors and coaches and experts and peers who have had a history and a track record of good answers to that question will begin to pop up here. And so that you can click and directly begin to chat with them or follow them or get involved in the content that they're doing based simply on what you've posted. And we're taking all of those hashtags and they're all starting to be, and you can see them now, they're starting to light up. And when you click on them, they have search functions for all the different things across people, content, curriculum, and companies who do the things that you're talking about. And so if I were to drill down into this and choose one of these things, what the product is going to start to do is it's just going to shift the aperture. It's just going to shift the lens on which you're looking at things. And you can navigate them through a series of filters. So if I clicked on one of those hashtags or I navigated to it or I clicked on any one of the things that the arrows pointed to, it would take me to a page that looks like this. Still have my chats, still have access to people, but it's gonna narrow that field down to the public chats that are about that topic area, in this case, driving website traffic, and all the other important people for me that I have regular chats going on with. And so in that way, like many of you may not know that I have a chat group with over 300 people in it, and we spitfire answers to it. And so if you clicked on something that we talk about in that chat, it would recommend it to you and you could just join it yourself. Or you could see all these other conversations going on here where groups of people on posts are having public discussions about those topic areas, and you can get involved in that or not. If Spark Saratoga is doing one, only other Spark Saratoga members will have access to that, and it'll prioritize that because those private groups are closer to your local affinity group, and it'll make it easier to see the things that are going on within your local community. And then the curriculum that's available will be here, and you can see these filters by stage of company, by area, and then whether it's guided or concierge, meaning direct one-to-one, somebody who will walk you through that as a human being, or simply self-serve. And you can begin to flip through these things, what we call carousel style, to begin to navigate within the app so that things are easier to find. All keeping the magic of people to people as the center of what we're trying to do when we connect access. And then if you really drill down into one of the content areas, you'll begin to see it's going to recommend people or tutors or coaches who are experts in this particular subject matter who you could go get a one-on-one session with. Some will be free, some will be paid, depending on the nature of who that person is. Kevin O'Leary, for example, is somebody we have access to. He ain't free, but he's somebody that there is access to on these different programs. There's other curriculum related to it that's more sophisticated. The system is going to look at your stage of your company. Here's this content is for provers and discoverers, and each of the stages of company has a definition, and it makes recommendations on the kinds of things that are there. Spark Saratoga may have lots of curriculum that they want that they can load up, and that's only available to Spark Saratoga folks, or maybe you want to make it available nationwide. And now that there's an infrastructure being built so that you can load that up, the system can know where it is and make the recommendations to you and your community, all based on an AI background that we're building out. And this is where the product is going, largely driven by feedback from folks on this call who are some of our early adopters. And you are the first people outside of the company to see this. And my product team would kill me if I showed it to you. So don't tell them.
Dave, one quick question that just came in is, you mentioned iOS app first. How long before do you think Android?
Not sure. We need to get through iOS first. Yeah, they're actually built on two different platforms and use two different set of tokens and keys. So the community right now is over 80% Apple on mobile. And so once we get that out, we'll see if people scream loud enough. We'll do it. Okay. We're literally, like, the whole company is built to build the products and services that the community needs. And so if you all yell, we'll do it. Like Bill and Ryan have been yelling about this page since, I think, November 2nd. And so we're here, we listen.
One other question, and something to touch base on, is just the resources. And you touched on this from, international shipping, those types of things, but even engineering, supply chain, logistics, HR. I think of culture is a big one. I know Teresa Agresta is on the call with Culture Talk, and those types of things for companies, manufacturing connections, all those are living here, and we're providing those through Spark Saratoga, local resources, right, and also through the Ureeka community.
Without question. In fact, I would say that the Spark Saratoga group of folks is among the more aggressive, maybe the most prevalent of the groups of folks who have been active and have expertise, especially in it's been an amazing asset and resource for all the companies nationwide to have access to the manufacturing that you all have in your region. And there's a lot of connections being made. And what we want to do is make that easier so that they can each have a card here with the content, so that they can educate folks about what the manufacturing you have in your area and your region. And then if you go into it, they can go in and click on it and say, yeah, please do this for me, and engage and buy that service right there. And you know that it's going to be a validated service because it's here, because it came from the community. You'll be able to see like the ratings, and there'll always be an educational component. We're going to ask everybody who comes in and wants to offer a service to be curated and to provide some education of some sort for the community, because they by definition have the expertise in it. And so we're going to ask everybody to do a little pay it forward on some curriculum that would be beneficial. And then they want to offer their services for whatever they charge, as long as it's a fair market rate. It's all above board.
Excellent.
All right, questions?
Just going through the chat to make sure we've covered everything. Bill, you want to?
Yeah, Dave, this is a good question that just came in, and this really does speak to something you're front and center with, in the information, mobile, digital economy. curation is the key now because search is overwhelming. So there was a great question just now from one of our participants about the challenge with what you're describing. How do we have the comfort or confidence that it's not stale or old, that it's going to be a curated resource of educational content and knowledge share, as opposed to the great ecosystem of the internet at large and searching. Yeah.
Yeah, we're doing the opposite of that. We're going to curate. We're going to give you 3 options, not 300. And what we want to do is use the tools that we have and use the information that you provide and let you filter through, and you say, you know what, this is my stage of company. This is the business that I'm in, and I'm looking for this manufacturer. And we're going to know, based on all the other folks that engage with it, who those best are. I know that sounds a little bit like Google search. Google search is going to provide 10,000 listings. Thumbtack is going to provide 10,000 listings of somebody who claims to be able to do it. We have a team of human beings who goes through and vets them all. It means sometimes we're slow at getting to it. Bill and Ryan and some of the folks on this call have probably experienced a little bit of slowness in us getting to the vetting, and it takes us a little longer to get those people into the community. But that's because we go find somebody who knows about that industry or that business to vet them to make sure that they come in here. And we don't want 5,000 people who manufacture socks. We want people from our communities who are creating jobs in the communities that we support. That means not San Francisco. That means not New York City. And where those things are the only place to go get them, fine, we'll make exceptions. But by and large, we want to redistribute jobs to the communities we're trying to bridge access to. And we want to go find the best companies in those areas. And geography is one of the filters that we're starting to add as the volume and the robustness gets there. I want to first hire somebody in the Saratoga area. Great, look, maybe there's only 2 people who do that in the Saratoga area, or nobody. So then I want to change my aperture and I want to go New York State, or I want to open it up and go nationwide. And those are controls that you as the community owner or as the member are going to want to change. And our job is to make sure that we're bringing companies that reflect our communities, better economic opportunity, without having to pick up and leave their geography that they're in right now. And so we're doing the opposite. You're not going to get a list of 500 things from us ever. We're more in the 3 to 5 curated, recommended group. And we want to spend our resources more like a concierge, going out and researching and vetting so that you know that experience is there, versus come one, come all, and just allowing anybody who used to work at Blockbuster to claim that they have expertise in that. Does anybody know what Blockbuster is?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. No offense if you worked at Blockbuster.
All right, I think you've definitely covered all the questions that have been asked.
I know we probably want to wind up soon. I just wanted to say too that one other opportunity we want to bring to Saratoga and the Capital Region with Spark, Ureeka, and the team here, advisors, is a demo competition, once we're allowed, and maybe it can just be virtual in light of the new normal so far this year. But we do want to bring sponsors forward to collaborate with Spark and Ureeka to make a demo competition available for promising companies, early stage companies that have already developed prototypes. And anybody have any ideas or thoughts about that? That would be a great way to show acceleration of some of the talent and innovators we have. So I just wanted to park that out there for people to think about. I don't know if you have anything else, Ryan, if you want to add to that.
Yeah, that's a great point, Bill. That's something we're looking to do here in the near future when we can. So that's something we can plan, and as soon as we roll out of this COVID shutdown, we're going to be actively pursuing that. Awesome, Dave. Thank
Bill,
you for.
Yeah,
ahead.
one last thing, just to notice, you asked that question about the curation of those companies. Like this website design one-on-one, this is a prototype thing that we're doing, and the company is high quality. They're in upstate. They're not in the capital region, but they're an upstate New York company that's providing that. And so this is the kind of stuff that we're going to give everybody to be able to expose this. And if you click on that, you can they'll teach you what the best practices are, or you can click the button and they'll do it for you.
Great. Okay.
Awesome. If anybody has any questions following this that you think of something, I'm putting my email in the chat feed here. I misspelled it, so I'm retyping it. But don't hesitate to reach out to me at ryan@sparksaratoga.com. And thank you for joining. If you encourage you to join the community, go to sparksaratoga.com, the access code SCDC Spark, and get in here, get the help you need. And we look forward to seeing you in the community. Dave, thank you so much for your time.
Thanks.
Anytime. Don't miss the Salesforce grant. It closes Friday. The entire capital region is eligible. Jump in that. If you have any problems, you can reach out to me on the platform or do a post. And we have a whole bunch of helpers who will get you whatever help you need. It's 10 grand.
Awesome.
It's a real deal.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thanks a lot, Dave. You're the best.
Thank you all.
Appreciate it.
Thanks, everyone. Take care.
Anytime.
Bye.